Good evening, everybody, and welcome to the Recreation and Parks Advisory Committee. Looks like we have a very full house, enough for a football team and an extra. So we'll go around the room later. Everyone's got a copy of the agenda and the minutes from last time. Can I get a motion to approve? There's no changes?
Motion approved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, the approval of the minutes from January 22nd. Seems like a lifetime ago. I did not see any additions or any changes. Anybody else?
Just one minor correction on the third page, about 10 lines down. I was talking about maintenance of the asphalt. There's very little concrete on that. This is the minor thing. There's very little concrete on the rails and trails path. So instead of concrete, that should be asphalt. Very minor thing. But to the purist out there watching on G10 somewhere, they want to know that.
Thanks, Mr. Wheeler. Anything else?
Motion to approve the minutes with corrections as noted by Mr. Wheeler.
Okay, can I get a second?
Second.
All right, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, thank you, guys and ladies. Director's report, new business and old business.
Okay, so I think I'm going to start off tonight because we have a nice presentation from Jason over here. So I'll get us started and then hand it over to the parks folks. So we've been busy over on the recreation side of the house. Just as a quick recap, we have finished all of our Easter egg hunts this past weekend. Went really well, had a great turnout for both our flashlight egg hunt on Friday, as well as all of our other egg hunts and festivities on Saturday. So that's just a quick recap. Also currently going on right now is summer day camp registration. So last week started residents on Monday and non-city residents started today. So registration is going really well. Lots of people are aware that school will get out and kids need a place to go, although there's a good majority of folks that hopefully won't wait till the last minute and try and get in and will be full, but it never fails. We do have that as well. So we will try and accommodate all of those kids and parents for the summer, but it'll be here before you know it, as well as our Jacksonville's Jamboree. So mark your calendar for May 5th. We have lots of stuff going on for that weekend. I wanted to let you know we are adding a weekend ahead of time for additional basketball tournament. So the weekend of April, what is that, should be the 29th. The weekend before May 5th, we'll have a girls tournament at the Commons, and then the weekend of the Jamboree, we will have all of the boys tournaments. So we have lots of tournaments going on for basketball. We're anticipating, well over 150 teams to come in for both of those weekends. So it's a lot of kids, a lot of basketball, and we will be in all of our sites as well as the school sites. So we're excited for a good weekend, as well as other festivities for the Jamboree. We also have just finished up all of our teams for spring sports. So all of the kiddos out there for t-ball, baseball, softball, and volleyball should be contacted by this past weekend, if not today and tomorrow. All of the coaches have their rosters. They will be all contacted, and then they'll start playing ball on our beautiful ball field. So lots of kids. We have almost 600 kids enrolled in our spring sports. I will go ahead and let you know that volleyball was probably our biggest growth sport this spring. And similar to our basketball challenge, we did run out of space, and we did have a wait list on our youth basketball, volleyball, I apologize. So those girls, lots of them are playing. We have 140 girls playing volleyball. We might have a boy or two, I'm not sure, yes. So I'll just say youth volleyball. But we also have a wait list. And that goes back to the same challenge I think I've voiced with you on some of our facilities and just getting into the schools. Everybody is extremely busy. That includes ourselves as far as, using the facilities and making the most of what we can. So volleyball is very busy, along with t-ball, baseball, softball, and all of that good stuff. So that's just kind of a quick recap. I have just a couple of things I wanted to share with you because I know each of you got it in front of you. This is our spring and summer brochure. It has lots and lots and lots of information in it. It is also on our website, so I encourage anybody out there watching on G10, please feel free to go to the website and look at it. It's a quick download, or you can just let us know. We can put one in the mail to you. You'll see on the cover there the pool. We will be opening that pool back up at Holiday City Memorial Day weekend, and that's coming along. That was a really good relationship and a good partnership with us, And so we'll be going to council to approve that lease, but I anticipate that they'll approve that lease. It was a good partnership last year. So we'll be opening up Memorial Day weekend and then going through the summer, as well as a new splash pad opening also on Memorial Day weekend. We have the current one at Jack Amyette, and the other splash pad at Northeast Creek is scheduled to be complete. If you go out there now, you might question it, but they are working diligently over there, and there's lots of activity on that work site. So I have all faith in the contractor to get it done by Memorial Day weekend, because it's out there and people will show up. So we have to be ready. So Memorial Day weekend will be a kickoff all those activities. I'll go ahead and give you an update also on the amphitheater. Amphitheater is coming along. We anticipate to have our concert series there this summer, as well as some other activities. I don't know that we'll do our movies there because there is some challenges these fine folks have with the sod, and we want to make sure that if we're going to put sod down, we keep it and it's sustainable. So we might not have all of our movies there, but I anticipate by the end of the summer we'll be full steam ahead with a full schedule of activities at the amphitheater. One other facility, just to bring you up to date on, is the marina. I think I mentioned to you last time that we were close, that contract has been executed, and work, they've got a notice to proceed. They've mobilized, I believe, or somewhat mobilized on site. That is a 180-day contract for Riverwalk Marina. So we anticipate by the end of September that marina should be completed. So we're excited. We are able to accommodate our kayak vendor. He's just going to kind of work out of the end of LP Willingham. So not very far, so hopefully he won't, it'll be an easy enough walk for folks to get interested, to get a kayak and go out of the end of LP Willingham. So it'll be a nice, easy transition for him to work out of another location, since it's all same vicinity. So, yeah, we have a lot of great stuff on the horizon. Take a look at the brochure. Okay, so this fun little thing in front of you is a new initiative that I will give all the credit to a fine recreation coordinator by the name of Becky Stanford. She's on our staff. She put this together, and it is a new initiative. We just want people to kind of be active this summer. We want kids to have fun in our parks. These folks do a great job with our parks and keeping them fun and up to date, and we want kids to go check them out with their families. So we put this challenge together. It's just a fun thing for the kids and families and parents to take them and go explore. So you'll see some of them have little challenges or little questions, but it's basically a scavenger hunt. And they can go check everything out. And as they have different levels on how many they go check out, they can win a prize. So if they do 5 of the parks, 10 of the parks, 15 of the parks, then their prize becomes a little bit bigger each time. So we're excited. We launched this weekend at our Easter egg hunts, and it came off really well. And we've had some really good responses from our partners on the MCCS and on base. So we're hoping that we have lots of kids running around all over our parks. So if you're out there doing your monthly look-arounds and your inspections, and you see people kind of checking it out, by all means, hopefully they're out there with this little piece of paper and checking it out. So we're excited about that. Okay, I think that was it in a nutshell, in a quick nutshell. Any questions for me? Not a one? All these fine folks at the table?
You did well. You covered everything.
Okay, easy breezy. All right, well then I'll turn it over to Michael.
Okay, thank you. So tonight, I wanted to take a minute before I got started with my report and introduce 2 of our staff members here from the Parks Department. That is Scott Perozzi, who is our Assistant Park Superintendent. So he is basically the person that is over all of our parks. And then Jason Smith, who is our horticulturalist. Tonight, Jason is going to do a quick PowerPoint for you to kind of show you who he is, what he does, and what the people that work with him do, kind of where they've been, where they're at, and where they're going. Hopefully, we'll bring Scott back to do that also, and if not in May, sometime in July, I believe it would be, yes. So real quickly from my end, though, in case you haven't noticed, we've went from snow pretty much to mowing. We have started mowing already. Whether it's weeds or grass, it's growing. Our public safety memorial, I think I've talked to you about that the last couple of meetings. We have made great progress on that. We are now waiting for what I call one of the 2 final pieces, and that is the pavers to be delivered, which if not today. They'll be delivered this week. We'll put those out, and then we'll do some landscaping upkeep that needs to be done over there. And my expectation is definitely by the end of April, the Public Safety Memorial will be finalized. And we're very proud of that. That most of what you'll see out there has been done by the Parks Department. We have had some assistance from the FMF staff as far as electricity, and some from the water people as far as running a water line, but the bulk of what's been done out there is all your park staff, and what a savings that has been to the city. One other thing, just to make you aware, we are in the middle of our budget season. Susan and I are both in the middle of our budget season, so our next month or so is going to be time for us to be working with the manager and then eventually council on our budget and moving forward as a staff and as a city, so just be aware of that. Any questions for me before I turn it over to Jason? And I'll introduce Jason Smith. He's our horticulturalist, and he's going to show a great presentation about who he is and what he does for us.
Like I said, I'm Jason Smith. I'm the horticulturalist. I've been with the city for approximately 3.5 to 4 years now. And some of the areas, probably majority of the areas, y'all have probably seen some enhancements, changes throughout the city. And we're going to talk about them today a little bit on what the reasonings behind some of the ideas are, and some of the ideas of where we're going here in the future. So right now we're putting out annuals. This is a snapshot at Riverwalk Park. This was during the summer. Here's another picture here. In total, we're installing approximately 3,000 flowers each seasonal change out, so a total of 6. We do 2 a year. With that, we've had volunteers come in this past year, thank goodness. One of the military installations asked for some help, and we were more than obliged to get the help, for sure. So they helped us over at Richard Ray. They were helping us install winter annuals right there in that picture. So right now we're doing annual flowers for the parks at Richard Ray, LP Willingham, Jack Amiette, some around the splash pad during the summertime, around the commons in front of the admin building, and in some of the flower pots, and at Richard Ray. Like I said, summer annuals we typically install May and June. Our winter annuals we're doing October and November, and we did have the luck of having some of the volunteers help out for a few days with some of that installation. This is Riverwalk Park. This was before we installed sod. You can see that along the devil strip is what I like to call it, underneath the trees. It gets wore out with shade. There's a lot of competition there with roots and traffic. So what we wanted to do is put something down that could handle more of that type of traffic and foot traffic. And it's a busy park, obviously with National Night Out, and when there's several other events out here, we wanted something that was going to be long due. So we installed crown zoysia. As we got into this project, and this has been a phased project, we have done the stage pods is what I like to call it, and then we've moved down as years have gone by. Obviously, we've ran into some irrigation issues, which you can see here. It's an older system, so you're going to run into those type things. As you can see, this is what it looks like once we take the weeds out and part of the grass. And then this is what it looks like as we're installing, okay? The good thing is, obviously, there's irrigation there. That's a good thing because we can lay sod there pretty much any time of the year as long as we can get it installed. And we've got plans to take on some more of those areas. We've got one more section down at Riverwalk to do, and then we're down to the next pod over in the LP Willingham, and we'll be doing that whole pod this coming summer. So, like I said, we did it for an appearance standpoint. It's easier to maintain from our end. The irrigation problems, they had to be fixed anyway. This was the best time to do it as we were installing. We did 35 pallets this past year. We're going to do probably 70 roughly this coming year. And that took about 3 weeks to complete. So we're looking at the next pods going down. It's going to take five to 6 weeks, somewhere in that, to finish it all out. But it should look a little different, and it should be matched at this point once we finish those last few pods. And this is Wooten Park. This was before Nice and green grass there, but what you can't see is actually in the corners where the building is. When we built it, we had a lot of erosion coming from there because we didn't have gutters. And what we were having is just water puddling, and there was a mosquito, it's a mosquito heaven when it comes down to getting warmer temperatures. So what we did, we also had, you can see more to the left of that building where the erosion was happening. We had that area, and then we had an area out in front of the building that was underneath pine trees that just was not growing grass. And so what we decided to do is we wanted to incorporate landscape in all of that area, okay? When it was all said and done, we installed roughly 70 shrubs in here, a couple trees, and pond straw. And that's what the end product looked like. And we also were, with FMS's help, they were able to put in gutters, which if anybody did look at Wooten today, the gutters did get some vandalism over the weekend or the end of last week. So we are aware of it, and FMS is aware of it. So. And here's the amphitheater. As Susan mentioned, this was the beginning phases. This was before Scott actually put in the walls, the sitting walls. It looks totally different today than what it does in this picture. This was our initial, here you go, this is what we need done. So what we did is we came in where we were going to put walls, and we wanted to get it controlled. We wanted it where it wouldn't wash or anything like that. So we done this so that Scott could come back and actually build the walls so it could stay in place. And that was only 30 pallets aside, and it took about a week. We've got a lot more work to do. Scott's been working with some of the steps that go on each side of the hill. We've done that all internally. That's not been contracted. That's all internally. And we've tried to stabilize some of the soil as construction is going on, whether it's been seeding or whether it's been sodding, just to get something down so it'll stay in place for right now. But this is coming. This is coming within the next, I would say the next 3 or 4 weeks. We will be starting the whole installation of sod when it's all said and done. It's 340 rolls of sod. That's a big undertaking. I mean, when it's going to take probably a month for us to be able to lay that much. Obviously, it's a wet area. It's the area where we're going to be challenged with Mother Nature just because it's a clay-based soil. But in the long run, this is the right way to do it before it gets busy, before it gets involved with traffic, involved with concerts or anything like that. We want to go ahead and initially get it done and get it out of the way. So it'll be a lush green, pasture for you to sit or play or whatever kind of events that you have out there. So like I said, this is going to be done May, June timeframe. So this is top priority when it comes down to the next month or so for us as a department working on. Richard Ray, we've got new signs that have been purchased, or not been purchased, but we've designed them and developed them. I cannot hardly wait to get new signs out there. It's past due in some aspects. What we wanted to do is incorporate the new landscape look that we've done. We've had to add some landscape beds here due to traffic, it just being a busy park. What we wanted to do is kind of hold people from driving on the grassed areas and stuff like that. So we wanted to put in some knockout roses along the edges instead of a fence. We more so like a landscape fence versus a vinyl fence or a wood fence at this point. But these are the first 4 beds that we had done. We basically took what we had and added to. And basically the plant material that was selected is based off of geographics. So if you're in the southwest region or southeast region, we use plant material that would grow here that would fit that region. So what our idea is we have a lot of military that are around here and they're visiting, their family, they're coming into town. They could come to this park and realistically go to their geographical region and see plants that they're used to. From an educational standpoint, we thought that was a great way to kind of spread knowledge and kind of give back to them a little bit. This was the one here. You can see what we did. We left a lot of the existing trees and it basically built a landscape around what was there. We have 3 more beds to do in the very back of Richard Ray, which are our larger beds. But you're going to see that one coming along here quickly. after amphitheater, we should jump on it as soon as we can to get that finished. That project this past year took us 5 weeks to complete, so it's a big project. I would expect the 3 beds that we have to do is probably going to take another 5 weeks because there's such larger square footage. And this is the commons. If y'all probably saw this as we moved on this project, where we left some of the existing materials, but we wanted to put something in that was newer. The area had been, it's 15 years worth of plant material in there, and just sometimes you just need to revamp some things. Not that we changed where the beds were or anything like that, but we wanted to put something in that was newer, smaller, and more vigorous that would do well here. And there's a little bit less maintenance from our standpoint, going long term. And this is in front of the seniors building. And basically how we did these beds, this is all for efficiencies. Basically what we wanted to do is keep it where we could take a mow and run right down the side of it without having to do a lot of weed eating and that type of thing. And that's what I mean by, some of the efficiencies, where you can, where it makes sense. This is a couple other pictures. And we use brick chips in these areas. One-time deal. You don't have to go back with mulch and go over it time and time again. This was a brick chipped area where it was done. I know we had some decorative stone in here before that had been there for many, many years, and sometimes it just gets eat up with erosion, and being in the street like that, you have water that kind of penetrates it and washes things out, and we wanted to revamp that a little bit as well. So at the Commons, we installed 25 trees, 100 shrubs, 75 perennials, 400 linear feet of aluminum edging, and 50 tons of brick chips. The approximate time on that job was around 3 weeks for us to complete. And this is the Rhonda Peden Memorial. It used to be over in front of over by the pond. And what we done is we relocated it, put it on a new face, a new granite stone by itself actually in front of the seniors building now. But we did all of that work as far as taking the plaque off. We checked with the family. Mr. Michael talked to the family. They were all on board on what we were trying to do, and we wanted to put it closer to the seniors building for her. And then Christmas decorations. I know my title says horticulturalist and all of that, but somehow that fell into Christmas decorations and that type of thing. So y'all get to see some of the Christmas decorations that we did. This past year we did put in the new presents here, which I thought was a pretty good hit. There was some maintenance to it as we got into it when we started seeing how things were weathered and a lot of people just taking pictures. And this coming year, we've got an idea where we're going to put a bench out there and kind of keep people away from the tree, so to speak, and let it be a good photo op area, because that's what we found out, that a lot of people wanted to take pictures at night out here. And so this coming year, we'll do a better job when it comes to that. And then we did something different. We wrapped the live oak trees that go down the side of Riverwalk Park and along LP Willingham, and we put in over 10,000 lights just on those trees. We've got some good ideas on coming up in this next year. I'll give you a hint, it's going to be red and green, just to go along with it. But it'll be nice when it's all said and done. And I know we had a question last meeting or so of how much area we mow. And this is just a breakdown of kind of how our department as a whole, the areas that we take care of from a mowing perspective. We mow 135 acres of North Carolina DOT areas that will be road shoulders and that type of stuff. We mow 260 acres in the city parks, and we mow 90 acres in city facilities. That would be public services, public safety, any city buildings that we have, for a total of 485 acres of just mowing, okay? I can tell you with that number, there's not a slide for this, but we're roughly taking care of about 15 acres of landscape beds. That would be from roadways to any beds that we put in parks and et cetera. So we have a big footprint, and we try to make it as efficient as possible because we have so much that we take care of, and that's our goal, because to get around to all those areas, you got to be as efficient as you can, on a weekly basis. Here's our upcoming projects that we similarly talked about a little bit, Riverwalk Pod 3 and LP Willingham, the amphitheater sod project, and then we have the 3 beds left at Richard Ray that we want to complete here in the next year or so. And Do y'all have any questions?
A lot of information, but very good.
Yeah.
Very thorough.
Jason, I've got one, the entrance to Brook Valley Park. I know the city parks maintains that. There's some canyons and some other shrubs there. They also mow that. Is that considered a city park or another?
Brook Valley?
Yeah.
It's
Off of
considered,
Dorset.
it's a park, yeah.
Not the Brook
No,
Valley
you're
Park.
talking about the
entrance, just the
entranceway. Yeah, it
entrance.
does fall under our footprint.
Yes. Not all do in the city, but Brook Valley, Sherwood Forest, those are the two that come to mind right off the top of my head. They do fall under us. Branchwood,
Branchwood.
I'm sorry, Branchwood, they fall under us, but there are other areas that there are, like Woodlands is a good example, that does not fall under us.
Very good, Jason.
Good
We
question.
appreciate it. If you like, Jason, we can put in a motion that if you work in the building in the city, you have to mow your own grass. And maintain the plants.
That would be interesting. I think that might be more time consuming.
Very well. All right, anything else,
No.
Michael or Ms. Houston? All right, thank you very much. Mr. Jackson, welcome again.
Thank you.
Do you have anything to give to us tonight?
Not
Words
at
of
this
wisdom?
moment. Just glad to be here and still learning on the job.
All right.
You know?
Thank you very much, sir.
Great work, Jason.
Mr. Spring, do you have anything to report from the Planning Advisory Board?
Yeah, at our last meeting, most of the meeting was centered around some new regulations that we were trying to push through. We were trying to get in line with other municipalities on regulations for animal clinics, like the number of animals you can have and what you can do and what you can't do in an animal clinic. And what happened is staff was approached by some businesses about what regulations they had, and then staff did some homework. They looked at some other areas and found out what was going on in the other areas, and then tried to sort of take advantage of that opportunity to just revamp everything. So we spent, a good amount of time looking at what was proposed there. And I don't know, has that been before council yet?
Yes.
Okay, so it's already gone to you guys. And then, of course, I made my, basically my observation of the new building that's on the end of, across from Jacksonville High School, down from the old movie theater, turned into a trampoline park, yeah. And how pleased I was that they were able to take an old building and make something out of it. And my concern that we have an old building on the other end now that if we're not careful could turn out being the same way. Mr. Woodruff actually pointed out some ideas he had for it, and I pointed out an idea that I had for it that I've been pitching in the library there. But I just don't want it to get to the point where the movie theater got, because I'm sure that when they sold that movie theater, they probably didn't make very much money off of it, because there was quite a bit of rehab that had to be done to that building. And if you're not careful, the Kmart building could end up being in the same situation. So I'm hoping they'll take advantage of it and get something there and make it useful for everybody. And that's it.
All right, thank you, sir. Any questions for the planning board? All right, we'll go ahead to our parks reports. We'll start with Mr. Bill.
When I was there, everything was fine. Very clean, neat, the bathrooms, basketball court, swings, the little recreational bars and everything. It looked great. So I didn't
Thank you.
see any problem at all. Looked really good. All the grills were clean. Everything was fine. Picnic tables, great shape.
Mr. Hummer?
Sherwood Forest, I must have caught them at a bad time because nobody was there, but everything looked nice and clean, and everything was well mowed. I'm guessing that the dirt or sand at the playground is going to probably end up getting, when it gets drier, it'll probably be able to be fluffed up a little bit more. But other than that, everything looks great. I tried the water fountain and it worked on the first push. So you can tell Mr. Woodruff I figured out the secret of the water fountain. At Branchwood, which I tried to find Branchwood on my scavenger hunt here and I couldn't find it.
We couldn't fit them all on here.
Okay, well, but anyway,
Took some finagling.
they must have known you were doing this because I saw more people at Branchwood today than I've ever seen. There were kids on the playground, there were people running around inside the park. There was 4 or 5 people walking with a stroller from, the housing development toward Branchwood. So instead of getting out and walking around and freaking everybody out, I just watched for a while and then I took off, but, it looks great. At Phillips Park, again, it was very well used. Of course, it was a nice day to be out there, and you had a couple of teams practicing ball. It just kills me to watch those kids practice because I saw someone in the outfield just throwing their glove up in the air, and I'm going like, I don't think I did that in high school, but they were probably bored that nothing was hit their way. But there were people walking down by the waterfront, using the playground. It was just very well used, and like I said, everything else was in real good shape.
All right, thank you, sir. Mr. Steve?
The seawall is done, looks marvelous. Anyway, on the weekends, there's plenty of boats down there. Anyway, good job on that one there. The splash pad / restroom, making lots of progress recently. There wasn't much going on there last month, but it was raining all the time.
Right.
So the walls are up in the bathroom, it's sheathed, it's got a roof, they were shingling it today.
Oh, great.
Yeah, and they're putting in elements of the splash pad. There were 2 like giant hula hoops there.
Oh, nice.
Oh, along with a lot of mud. There's a lot of mud there. And that area between the parking lot and the road, I don't know what's going on there, but it's turned into a giant mud hole, and they cut down all the trees. So can you enlighten everybody?
Well, what they're doing is a lot of the dirt that they're taking from the playground side, they're moving over to that area. You know, that area has always been an area that you couldn't do much with because of the slope. So what our hopes are is we took the trees out over there. We found an opportunity that didn't cost us much money for them to take the dirt, use it over there, level it out. They're going to sod it, and then that may become a usable spot for a recreation space or just an open space. And whereas before, it's really not been much of an open, a spot that's been usable before.
But right now, there's a lot of mud.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Let's see. There's a bunch of trees behind the current restrooms.
Mm-hmm.
Got red stuff around them. So I guess you're
Ribbon.
gonna take those out or something?
Those trees are marked to be taken out.
Okay.
Yeah, and we can talk about why. So what's the importance of taking those out? When we built our splash pad at Jack Amyette, the luxury we had with the splash pad over there is there's not anything over there. There's no debris that can really get on that splash pad. So as we moved over to Northeast Creek, obviously, there's a lot of trees at Northeast Creek. So we've kind of identified some trees that we felt like would affect the splash pad and its filtration system. Now, there's going to be debris that gets on the splash pad over there. It's almost impossible that it can't. But what we've tried to do is minimize it and also allow the sun to get a little bit to the splash pad to help keep things dried out over there a little bit. So, and I think we marked 30 or 28 trees.
28 trees.
Some of them I can see, because, the ones that were really close together.
Right.
Yeah, some of those made sense. And then as you walk from the baseball fields down to the former lagoons,
Mhm.
you go over a culvert.
Mhm.
Anyway, it's all clogged. It's got
Okay.
tons of debris in it. That's gonna be a big job.
Thank you.
And then there've been people there, despite the construction, lots of people using everything. There are a lot of people out there today. All right, that's it for me.
All right,
Thank
thank you, Steve. Mr. Bernard?
Good evening, everyone. Yes, at the Woodlands Park, of course, it's been used quite a lot. There's been a lot of soccer going on, except for when the weather was bad and stuff like that. So this park looked very well. All of the play areas are that to be usable, is very well intact, and it's clean. Haven't been on the trail in the last 3 weeks, but 2 weeks, I should say. The trails have always been clean. I have asked people who I know who ride, and they said it's always been used. Whether it's cold, snow, people still riding on the trails just to get it in. But they are very upkept and very clean, to say. Wilson Bay is very in use a lot. I think the water fountain did go out again, because, I always drink water. I'm just a water man. Every time it did go out again, and so it's not operating right at this time. But the park has been very used. And then the kudos, of course, to Park Operation. Guys are just, every time you see something that needs to be done to clean, they're mowing, they're on it, they're either putting something out or picking something up. So I get kudos to those guys.
At the risk of making myself look bad, I think we fixed the water fountain at Wilson Bay already.
Okay, great.
Thank
No problem, Mike, I got that for you.
All right, thank you, sir. Ms. Benita?
The Sturgeon City looks awesome, especially with the fountain that's working, so makes me happy every time I see it. However, Georgetown, it still has that hole at the bottom of the baseball stop thing okay. And there are like 2 light posts it's like a graveyard over there and in this way. One of those light posts, the one that's closest to the animal shelter, looks like it's gonna fall off.
Yeah, it's leaning. We sent an email into Jones Onslow to get that fixed. That's their light, so we've
Okay,
in contact with them already.
that's it.
All right, thank you. Mr. Joseph?
Hey, good evening, everyone. As Jason mentioned during his slide brief, we got Kerr Street Riverwalk and LP Willingham. There's always something going on over that place. It always looks good, but there's always somebody out there fixing something, moving something, getting something straightened up. What I really like was the group of people. Every time I walk through the park, though, no matter what work they're doing, whether they're laying sod or doing everything, it doesn't obstruct your use of the park. They're always really good at making sure that you still have ways around, so people are always still walking around, weather permitting, getting their strollers in and going up and down the park areas. Weather notwithstanding, there's always people fishing off the pier. It doesn't matter what the temperature is or what the weather is. There are always people fishing down there. Yeah, it's like, it's the same guys. A very dedicated bunch, but they're always down there and having a good time with it. But everything in the parks in those areas look fantastic. They're always working well, and we haven't had any issues with that area.
Thank you.
Mr. Jim?
Yes, Brook Valley, I went by there Sunday, and the first thing I checked was the water fountain. And it was dispensing Coors Light beer, and that's the last thing I remember. So seriously, the water fountain was working, it was dispensing water. All the trash receptacles had been recently emptied, there was very little trash in there, there was no litter. There was one family over there taking advantage of the playground equipment and all the equipment. The swings, the slides, and everything seemed to be working fine. Northwoods, I stopped by there tonight, and I was surprised because usually they're playing dodgeball or something, which they still refuse to let me participate in. But all the kids tonight were watching a movie, and I asked, well, what's going on? Well, Northwoods Elementary is out this week, and so they're open from 7:30, and the kids were kind of worn down, as well as the staff.
Right.
By 5:30, so they were in watching the movie, kind of chilling out a little bit. The people over there said there was nothing to report. Everything seems to be working fine.
Thank you, sir. All right, Richard Ray, the Commons, and Jack Emiett all looked great. Like the other parks, they're just here lately and today, and they were flooded with people out trying to get the spring fever out of them. They all looked very well. On the signs that Jason mentioned, are they going to do all the parks or just Richard Ray?
Richard Ray is one.
Those are the informational
Yeah,
signs for the
informational
garden
signs that work
area.
out.
Oh, okay, so that's the only signs being replaced?
Well, right now, our intentions are to change out all the signs.
Okay, all right. That's all the questions I have. Anybody have any comments to add? Yes, sir.
Yeah, the water fountain at Wooten Park's not working, but I thought you'd cut the water off in the wintertime. That's why I didn't say anything.
Well, it should be back on by now,
Yeah,
though.
okay.
But we'll check on it.
Check
Thank you.
Appreciate it.
Miss Lori, I want to add 2 more things real
Yes, sir.
quick. One, the playgrounds, just be aware, I think, Scott, we're getting ready to add sand to all the playgrounds. So be aware of that, kind of to what you were saying earlier about the sand. This is the time of year that we come back and we, obviously we till and do fluff, but each year we have to add sand to the playground. So you'll see us out there doing that. And the other thing is, I want to talk about, just for a second, about what Jason's staff is doing for us and for the city and what a good job they're doing. He was very shy in talking about the work at Riverwalk. We had to basically rebuild and invent the irrigation system. That's not an easy thing to do. We have great people on our staff that do that. and are able to get those sorts of things done without having to contract out with another organization and spend a lot of money in it. It obviously costs money, and it does cost money and time, but it is always going to be cheaper for us to do it in an efficient manner. And because we're able to do those things internally, the benefit is to the parks, because we're able to do things in the parks. We're able to stretch our dollar a little better. And I know Jason is being very modest, and Scott, to his credit, when he does his report, same sorts of things, you know, trying to be as efficient as we can be with the dollars that we have and being good stewards with the city money. And just wanted to say, he didn't talk about that much, but it is great staff.
Right, and just to piggyback off that, Jason and Scott, this whole board here, we give you guys kudos and your team kudos all the time. So if you don't hear it from Michael, it's his fault.
Oh, yeah.
And so I think it reflects the city as a whole. I mean, I've been here all my life, 29 years. And it's what it came from when I can remember to where it is now and to what our future looks like. I think it's a huge
Absolutely.
staff, and a huge thank you to all the staff there. So I can remember the days where, you know, you saw a wine tree and you're like, yay. So kudos to that. Now that we have a council member that can strong harm the rest of the council men and women.
No problem.
Stay tuned.
We do have exercise equipment.
Okay.
You can
Build
start
up,
getting
right.
the arms
Get in shape.
packed and ready to go. Anybody have anything else to add? The Carmen, we're supposed to email Carmen about the,
April 10th.
what, April 10th, right?
April 10th.
April 10th, everybody has that for dinner and, right, recognition? Okay, so make sure everybody got that. And then, there it is right there, right? Okay, and then May 21st is our next date that we'll meet, and hopefully everything will be swinging things as far as in the Parks and Rec. I'll give kudos to Spider. I took my daughter to volleyball assessment, and she went up, and there was a ton of girls there, so I could attest to what Miss Susan said, and I was threatened by my 13-year-old if I didn't sign her up. So I did get her in, I think, the very first hour it came available, so I was right there to it. Other than that, one city moment, you did that with Mr. Jason, Mr. Scott?
Well, actually, I
We
have,
have another.
yes, but we'll have another one. I wanted to share with you, for those of you who did not see recently, the city received a very nice award. Councilwoman Washington was able to attend. I'm going to read this because I want to make sure I get it right. National League of Cities Congressional City Conference in Washington, D.C. on behalf of the city of Jacksonville. And her attendance was fantastic because we actually won second place for the 2018 Cultural Diversity Award. So the One City Initiative won the award. It was in second place, and that was a national award. So it's a fantastic tribute to what it is this last campaign for One City, Our City, Your City has done for us. And so we are very, very fortunate that Ms. Washington was able to attend and represent this fabulous city on behalf of all of us and council members and win this award. So it was a great moment for us, and we'll continue on and do other great things. Do you have anything you wanted to add to that, or?
I actually attended that conference as
Oh,
well.
thank you.
And we came in second behind Tallahassee, so we did a great job of shows we can improve and come out number one next time around.
There you go.
Yeah, absolutely. So, thank you. Yeah, no, that was definitely, that was a good moment for all of us. We
It was
were
great.
all proud. Absolutely, thank you. And that was it.
All right, anybody else? Do I hear a motion to adjourn?
So move.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Mr. Jim, you're good?
I'm good.